Hey everyone, it's Bethany Hunt, and this is my presentation for our final project for field study. For this presentation, I created a Jamboard. For standard number 1 learner development, my reflection is that standard number 1 taught me how important it is for educators to understand how students grow and develop across several areas. It's very important for us to consider these differences in planning instruction so we can create and use learning experiences that are developmentally appropriate for all students while still challenging them to further their knowledge. For my highlights, I have that teachers should respect all students' differing strengths and needs when helping them learn. This can be as simple as allowing students to choose whether they want to work in a group project or be on their own, or remembering that not all students will perform their best during a review game that requires them to speak out in front of their peers. Even though a game can encourage emotional and social development, a student that is struggling in those areas will likely be uncomfortable. By considering each student's individual needs and strengths, teachers can create developmentally appropriate instruction that enables all learners to succeed. Another large part of the standard is considering cultural differences in the classroom. Ensuring that the content is culturally relevant will help all learners feel included and felt seen in the classroom. Cultural relevance in the classroom also helps prepare students to interact in wider social circles and teaches students empathy as well. Finally, educators should help students make connections between content in their own lives, which can promote engagement and participation in the classroom. Standard number 2, learning differences. For my reflection, I have that standard number 1 taught me that educators must understand the differences of individual students, along with their backgrounds and cultures, to ensure that the classroom is inclusive to all. When students do not feel included in the classroom, they might not be able to reach their full learning potential. It's important that educators believe that all students can learn, no matter their individual strengths and weaknesses or cultural backgrounds. Teachers should not only design instruction and learning activities that meet each student's needs, they should also create opportunities for students to demonstrate their learning in several different ways. Some of these ways might include oral exams, presentations, projects, or written reports. We can help all learners succeed to the best of their ability by pacing the content appropriately, using several different methods of assessment and response, and assigning different tasks based on each learner's needs. Through differentiation, teachers can help students identify their own learning needs or preferences and identify ways to support their own academic growth. However, it's important for us to remember that we can always reach out to specialized staff members for assistance or guidance to help us ensure that each student's learning needs are met. Often, special education staff members have resources that classroom teachers do not have. By working as a team, we can ensure that all our students' needs are met. Standard number 3, learning environments. This standard taught me that it's important to ensure that the classroom is a positive environment that promotes individual and collaborative learning between peers. The classroom should encourage students to interact with one another, be active participants in learning, and provide self-motivation for students. Classroom organization is a very important part of creating an environment that supports learning. Without organization, students can be distracted, and clutter can cause mobility issues for those that require crutches, walkers, or wheelchairs for walking. Another important part of the standard is varying instruction, to be sure to include whole group, small group, and individual work to help students develop a wider range of learner skills. One way to encourage students to interact, even when outside of the classroom, is to use interactive technology for assignments. An example of this would be a group project where each member of the group researches a different part of the project, and all students collaborate through an online discussion board. Then the students can come together in small groups to put their project together. This type of project has a couple benefits. Students become familiar with technology and practice collaboration, which are both important skills for them to have to be successful in their future endeavors. Standard number 4, content knowledge. This standard taught me how important it is for teachers to be experts in the content knowledge of the disciplines that they teach. If we're not knowledgeable about our content area, we cannot teach our students what they need to know to succeed academically. When teachers understand what they are teaching and are prepared to teach, they can identify misconceptions in their content area, they know how to dispel the misconceptions, and they know how to help their students gain a true understanding of the content. In addition, preparedness allows teachers to use multiple instructional strategies and explanations and make adjustments as needed that promote each student's academic achievement. When choosing collaboration as an instructional strategy, It gives our students a chance to practice academic language and analyze information from another perspective, which can support student mastery of the content. Finally, it is so important for educators to know and use the academic language of their discipline so their students understand the academic language and can use it appropriately in their future careers. Standard number 5, application of content. Standard 5 taught me about the importance of helping students connect concepts in one discipline to other disciplines and how to relate the information being taught to real local and global issues that they might face. Helping our students learn to think critically is a very large part of this standard. An easy way for educators to support students in critical thinking is by asking higher order questions that require them to delve deeper into the content being presented to them. It's also important for educators to help students analyze information from perspectives that are different from their own. Looking at information from another person's viewpoint can help students understand others and develop new problem-solving skills. Allowing students to choose how to demonstrate their learning creates a flexible learning environment that lets them explore the content in their own way. When students are able to further explore on their own, it can lead to finding interdisciplinary connections and can help the student connect the content to their own lives. Standard number 6, assessment. This standard taught me that assessments are more than just giving a grade to a student to show them how well they have understood the content and performed on an assignment or test. Teachers can use assessments to gain valuable information about their instructional methods and how well they've delivered the content lesson. They can use the results of assessments to guide them while making adjustments to their instruction. An important part of assessment is the feedback that is provided to students to help guide their learning. Feedback should be descriptive and effective for students or it's pointless. I think it's also important for educators to know their students well and provide feedback that is tailored to each student. For example, some students might do well with a short note on their assignment, but others might understand the feedback better if it's delivered during a short one-on-one conversation. Pre-assessments are valuable tools that can help instructors determine their students' background knowledge on a given subject and help guide them when planning their instruction. It is important for educators to understand the different types of assessments and how to select appropriate assessments and adapt them to fit their students' needs while still ensuring that specific learning goals are being met. Finally, keeping records of assessment scores over the years can help teachers identify weaknesses in their own instructional strategies and help teachers work together to gather information to understand how their learners are progressing and support them as they advocate for changes within their district. Standard number 7, planning for instruction. Standard number 7 provided a lot of great information about all that goes into planning instruction that supports students in meeting their learning goals. There's so much thought that educators have to put into planning instruction, such as which instructional strategies to use, how to differentiate the instruction and assignments, how to determine students' background knowledge, and where to start the lesson. The settings in which students live, the relationships they have with others, and their cultural backgrounds play a large part in helping educators plan for instruction. One of my biggest takeaways from this standard is how important it is for educators to know their students in planning instruction. Knowing their students helps teachers choose instructional methods and learning activities that meet each student's individual needs. Being aware of the student's interests can help teachers choose activities that are fun for students and help teachers show their students real-life connections between the content they are studying in their daily lives. When students are interested in the learning process, they are more likely to show active engagement and participation in the classroom. It is important to remember that learning activities must meet curriculum goals and content standards. When planning instruction and learning activities, it is important for educators to sequence the instruction in a way that makes sense to students and can be effectively taught. Finally, it is extremely important for teachers to be prepared to teach, but they must also always remember that plans and circumstances can change abruptly, so sometimes it is necessary to make quick adjustments to help our students meet their learning goals. In the final standard we covered this class was standard number 8, instructional strategies. Standard 8 taught me a lot about how to choose instructional strategies and use multiple models and representations to reach students, and that educators should allow students to demonstrate their learning in a variety of ways. As educators, we should encourage our students to delve deeper into the content to gain a better understanding of the material and its connection to their daily lives and how to apply the knowledge they gain in a meaningful way. When teaching, it is important to include instructional strategies that reach visual, auditory, and kinesthetic learners in each lesson. By doing this, teachers show that they understand the differing strengths and needs of all their students. It is important for educators to include Our order questions in the instruction to pique their students' curiosity and encourage them to delve deeper into the content and see how the material is relevant to their own lives. It is crucial for educators to differentiate their instruction and create meaningful tasks that promote and encourage learning while still meeting each student at their current level. In today's world, it is extremely important for educators to integrate technology into the classroom. Our students live in a technology-driven world, and they must be adept in using technology to be successful in their future endeavors. In addition, technology helps us foster creativity in our students. Teachers can also use technology to their benefit to record short lessons that are available to be viewed by their students at home when they need a little extra help. Short lessons with accommodations can also be recorded, and students that need the accommodations can view the lessons on the devices while using headphones, which leaves educators free to help other students.